To make another quick update video. So I was talking to someone that works for a media organization, and they're like, why is no one covering what's happening with the banks right now and the repo market? And I was like, well, if you cover that, it's going to immediately cause a run on the banks, and it is going to cause a decline in the stock market. But here is the seriousness of what is happening right now that I explained to this individual. So as you have noticed, in 2 weeks, the banks have borrowed $50 billion in emergency liquidity that was not accessed anywhere near those levels last year. That right there is an indicator we have a serious issue. And then on top of that, if you look at the borrowing that was done by this, but today on the repo market, 8 billion of it was mortgage-backed securities versus treasuries. So I give you the pawn shop analogy. When you need to go get quick cash, a diamond ring is a treasury. That's like a $100 bill, right? You give that as collateral and you get back cash. Mortgage-backed securities are garbage. It's a stack of IOUs on the backs of people's mortgages that aren't even being paid right now. So what you guys need to understand, billions and billions and billions of dollars of direct deposits, government funding to contractors, none of that is happening. So none of this liquidity is going into the banks. Worse yet, because a lot of individuals work for the government or work for the military, they cannot pay loans back. So they can't pay car loans, they can't pay credit cards, they can't pay mortgages. That's how banks get cash back. So if banks are not getting direct deposits from the government and no funding from any government source at this point in time, and they're not receiving paybacks on loans, and all that's happening is people are taking cash out. They're taking cash out of their various banks to cover rent, to cover mortgage, to cover car loans. That's why this November 1st date is so fucking dangerous, because car loans are due on the 1st, mortgages are due on the 1st, credit cards are due on the 1st. And so all the direct deposits that are not showing up from the federal government workers to contractors to any other agency that's not getting paid. I don't know about the military yet. I still don't know if they were able to come up with the $9 billion, but let's say that doesn't happen either. Now the banks are out billions and billions and billions of dollars, and they're not getting any loan repayments coming in. So what do I think's going to happen next week? And it clearly looks like the shutdown will go into next week. I think there might be very well a run on some of the smaller banks. I've heard reports, I don't know how true they are, but some individuals are having trouble, especially trying to get out large sums of cash. So a few individuals I've seen comments on just through the TikTok who said, you know, they tried to take out a large deposit, bank wouldn't grant that, wouldn't allow that to leave the bank. They didn't have it, basically. So that's essentially what's happening when there's no cash, when there's no liquidity. The banks can't meet these withdrawals, and then we come to a standstill and we have a run on the banks. And so what I think is going to happen next week, after November 1st, is the SNAP benefits will end, and we will not have any of that money going into the banks, and we are going to potentially see a run on the grocery stores and a run on the banks, because people are not going to have SNAP benefits, people are not going to have paychecks to buy food, and then on top of that, banks aren't going to have money to meet withdrawals. So we'll see what happens next week, but there's no intention of reopening the government before November 1st. And we're just right now heading straight into the Big Short Part 2.